Picture this. I'm standing at the edge of my backyard deck, the wood still smelling faintly of the varnish we slapped on during that sweltering summer 3 years ago, and I'm watching the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of bruised purple and molten gold. It's not just another evening. It's a moment that feels like it's holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. My name's Sophie, and at 33 I've carved out a life that's equal parts chaos and comfort, a life I share with Ethan, my husband of 5 years. He's 35, a man who carries a quiet intensity in his broad shoulders and a sharpness in his humor that can slice through my grumpiest moods like a hot knife through butter. We've been a unit for 8 years now, and if I'm honest, our relationship is a beautiful mess. We bicker over the dumbest things, whose turn it is to scrub the dishes, or why the laundry's still sitting in the dryer. But those spats always seem to melt away over late-night confessions. A bottle of cheap red wine split between us, our voices low and raw as we untangle whatever's knotted us up. Our home is a modest 2-story in a suburban sprawl, nothing fancy, but it's ours. The cramped kitchen is where we've burned more than a few batches of pasta, laughing as the smoke alarm screeched its disapproval. The living room couch, sagging in the middle from years of use, is our sanctuary, where we sprawl out with Max, our scruffy little terrier who's basically our kid, his head on my lap while Ethan scrolls through ridiculous videos online, snorting at memes that shouldn't be half as funny as they are. I can still feel the ache in my arms from the summer we built that backyard deck together, Ethan shirtless and swearing under his breath as he wrestled with a stubborn nail, me teasing him until we were both doubled over, sweat-soaked and grinning like idiots. Those are the moments that stitch us together, the ones that remind me of the unspoken trust we've forged. It's not perfect. Lord knows we've been tested, but it's unbreakable. Or at least I've always believed it was. Ethan's got these 2 friends, Mark and Caleb, both hovering in their mid-30s, who've been part of his life since long before I came into the picture. They're fixtures in our world, always showing up for barbecues on that deck, or crowding around our dining table for game nights, beer cans cluttering every surface. Mark's the loudmouth of the pair, always armed with a joke and a boyish grin that masks a surprising tenderness. He's the kind of guy who'll rib you mercilessly, but be the first to offer a hand when you're down. Caleb, though, he's different. Quieter, almost too still sometimes, with these piercing eyes that seem to cut right through the noise and see things you didn't even know you were capable of seeing. As the last sliver of sun slips below the horizon, I'm settled on our backyard deck beside Ethan, the world around us bathed in a warm, golden haze that feels almost too perfect, like a painting come to life. The air carries the sharp, clean scent of freshly cut grass, mingling with the faint sweetness of lavender drifting over from the neighbor's garden. Above us, the string lights we hung last spring flicker on, their soft amber glow dancing across the wooden planks of the deck, planks we sanded and stained ourselves during a weekend filled with splinters and shared curses. I cradle a mug of chamomile tea between my hands, the heat seeping into my palms, grounding me in this quiet moment. Ethan sits just a foot away, sipping from his own mug, his fingers tapping a slow, absent rhythm on the armrest of his weathered Adirondack chair. His presence is a steady thing, a warmth I've come to rely on over the years. There's a silence between us now, but it's not the kind that begs to be filled. It's the kind that wraps around you like a familiar blanket, woven from countless evenings just like this one, from years of knowing each other's quirks and rhythms. I can hear the distant hum of crickets starting their nightly chorus, the occasional bark of a dog echoing through the neighborhood, and the soft rustle of leaves as a gentle breeze moves through the trees lining our yard. I glance at Ethan, taking in the way the fading light catches the sharp angle of his jaw, the way his dark hair falls just a bit too long over his forehead. He looks relaxed, but there's something else there too, something I can't quite place. Then he turns to me, and his eyes, those deep, hazel eyes that always seem to see straight through to my core, hold mine with an intensity that makes my stomach do a little flip. It's not just a casual glance, it's a searching one, like he's trying to gauge something before he even speaks. My curiosity peaks, a tiny spark igniting somewhere deep inside. He opens his mouth, his voice low, almost hesitant, as if the words are heavy on his tongue. "If I suggested something unusual," he starts, then trails off, letting the sentence hang in the air between us like a question mark. I can't help but smile, intrigued by the mystery in his tone. "I'm listening," I reply, my voice light but laced with genuine interest. I shift in my chair, leaning just a fraction closer, the warmth of my tea forgotten for a moment as I wait for him to go on. But he doesn't. Instead, he shifts in his seat, his gaze flickering up to the darkening sky, now streaked with deep indigo and the first faint pinpricks of stars. It's as if he's searching for the right way to say whatever's on his mind, and that hesitation, it's so unlike him. Ethan's always been the one to speak plainly, to lay things out without much fuss. A few days have passed since that cryptic moment on the deck, and I'm still turning Ethan's unfinished sentence over in my mind, trying to guess what unusual could mean. Tonight, we're in the kitchen after dinner, the familiar clink of plates and the steady hum of the dishwasher creating a mundane backdrop to what's about to unfold. I'm elbow-deep in soapy water, scrubbing a stubborn bit of sauce off a pan, while Ethan stands beside me, drying a stack of dishes with a faded blue towel. The air smells faintly of lemon dish soap and the lingering aroma of the chicken casserole we just ate. It's a routine we've done 100 times, a quiet rhythm that usually soothes me. But tonight, there's a tension I can't shake, a sense that something's coming. He clears his throat, and I glance over, catching the way his hands pause mid-motion, the towel dangling loosely in his grip. "Sophie," he says, his voice softer than usual, but with a weight that makes my chest tighten. "I've been thinking about that thing I mentioned the other night, the unusual idea." My hands still in the water, suds clinging to my fingers as I wait, my heart picking up speed. He sets the towel down on the counter, turning to face me fully, his hazel eyes searching mine, just like they did under the string lights. "I want us to try something different, something intimate, out in the backyard, under the stars, but not just the two of us. I'd like Mark and Caleb to be there with us." The words hit me like a sudden gust of cold wind, stealing the breath from my lungs. The dish I'm holding nearly slips from my grasp, splashing into the soapy water with a dull thud. My mind reels, a chaotic storm of emotions crashing over me all at once. Shock, sharp and electric, courses through me first, making my fingers tremble. Confusion follows, a heavy fog that clouds every thought. Why would he suggest this? Then a flicker of betrayal stings at the edges, making me question if I've misread the foundation of our bond. But beneath it all, there's something else, something I don't expect. A tiny, forbidden spark of curiosity that I can't quite extinguish, no matter how hard I try to push it down. Ethan must see the whirlwind on my face because he steps closer, his voice steady, but laced with an earnestness that begs me to listen. "Hey, I know this sounds out of left field, but hear me out. This isn't about doubt or anything lacking between us. It's the opposite. It's about trust, about pushing boundaries together, exploring something new as a team. I've thought about this a lot, Sophie. Mark and Caleb, they're people I'd trust with my life, and I'd be right there with you, every moment. This is about us, about deepening what we already have." I stand there, the warm water cooling around my hands, my gaze dropping to the sink as I try to process his words. My mind flashes to memories of Mark and Caleb over the years. The way Mark's playful smirks sometimes lingered a little too long. The way Caleb's quiet intensity seemed to pierce through casual conversation. Were those moments more than I thought? Had they been part of this idea before Ethan even brought it to me? The questions churn in my gut, but I don't voice them. Not yet. Instead, I just nod, a small, almost imperceptible movement, and mutter, I need time to think about this. My voice is barely above a whisper, but Ethan hears it. He doesn't push, just gives me a gentle, understanding look before picking up the towel again, letting the silence settle back between us. The next few days are a blur of restless thoughts. I can't escape the idea, no matter how much I try to distract myself with mundane tasks, folding laundry, walking Max around the block, or staring blankly at the TV while some nature documentary drones on. At night, when the house is quiet and it's just me and Ethan in the dim glow of our bedroom, we talk. Not just surface-level stuff, but deep, raw conversations. Here I am, standing in the backyard as the day of the event creeps closer, my heart thumping a little faster with every passing hour. The air feels heavier now, like it's pressing down on me with the weight of what's to come. Ethan and I are out here together, pouring every ounce of care into transforming this familiar space into something that feels both safe and charged with possibility. We drag out that big, plush outdoor couch we splurged on for summer movie nights, its deep gray fabric soft under my fingertips as we wrestle it into the center of the deck. I position it just right under the string lights, their warm glow already flickering to life as the sun dips low, casting long shadows across the wooden planks we built with our own hands. My fingers tremble slightly as I fluff the oversized cushions, arranging them with a precision that feels almost obsessive, like if I get this perfect, I can control the nervous energy buzzing through me. I drape a couple of soft, cream-colored blankets over the back of the couch, their texture grounding me for a fleeting moment, as I imagine us all sitting here soon, the fabric brushing against skin in the quiet of the night. Ethan's over by the edge of the deck, setting up tall candles in sleek glass holders. I watch him strike a match, the tiny flame dancing in his steady hands before he lights each wick, the warm, golden glow spreading across the space as dusk settles in. The flickering shadows play on his face, highlighting the focus in his expression, and I can't help but feel a rush of gratitude for how he's taking this just as seriously as I am. The candles cast a soft, intimate light over the deck, turning our backyard into something almost otherworldly, a sanctuary where anything could happen. I catch the faint scent of wax mingling with the sweet, heady aroma of jasmine blooming from the bush near the fence, and it wraps around me like a whisper, soothing and stirring all at once. I've got my phone in hand now, scrolling through playlists until I settle on one filled with slow, ambient tracks, gentle acoustic guitar strums, and soft, haunting vocals that seem to float on the evening breeze. I connect it to our portable speaker, testing the volume over and over, making sure it's just loud enough to set a mood without drowning out the sound of voices or the subtle undercurrents I know will fill the air tonight. The music hums softly, blending with the distant chirp of crickets, and I take a deep breath, trying to steady myself as I glance around at the scene we've created. It's beautiful, almost too perfect, and yet my stomach twists with a mix of anticipation and uncertainty, a cocktail of emotions I can't quite shake. The air is warm against my skin as I slip into a simple sundress, the fabric light and flowing, clinging just enough to make me feel both vulnerable and daring. I catch my reflection in the sliding glass door, smoothing the dress over my hips, and I wonder if I look as nervous as I feel. My hands fidget at my sides, and I force myself to take another deep breath, letting the scent of jasmine and candle wax anchor me. Ethan comes up behind me, his presence a quiet strength, and he gives me a small, reassuring smile that somehow eases the knot in my chest, even if just for a moment. We exchange a look that says everything without words. We're in this together, no matter what. It's just past 8 p.m. when I hear the faint crunch of gravel in the driveway, signaling that Mark and Caleb have arrived. My pulse quickens as I open the door, greeting them with a smile that I hope hides the storm of nerves inside me. Their voices are casual, familiar, as they step into the backyard. But I catch the subtle edge in their smiles, a shared anticipation that mirrors my own. Mark's got that easy grin on his face, tossing out a light-hearted comment about the setup looking like something out of a magazine, while Caleb's quieter, his sharp gaze taking in every detail with an intensity that sends a shiver down my spine. I can feel their eyes on me as I move, and it's both unnerving and oddly thrilling. A push and pull I'm not, here I am, standing in the backyard, the night finally upon us, my heart pounding so hard I swear it might break free from my chest. The string lights above cast their golden glow, and the candles flicker like tiny heartbeats in the darkness, their warm light dancing across the deck. The soft, ambient music weaves through the air, a gentle undercurrent to the tension that's been building inside me all day. I take a deep breath, the scent of jasmine and wax filling my lungs, and I feel the weight of this moment settle over me like a heavy cloak. It's not just nerves now, it's something deeper, a mix of fear and exhilaration, like standing at the edge of a cliff, knowing you're about to jump. I glance at Ethan, his steady presence a lifeline in this storm of emotion, and I give him a small nod, signaling that I'm ready, or at least as ready as I'll ever be. He nods back, his hazel eyes holding mine with that familiar intensity, a silent promise that he's with me through every step. I smooth the fabric of my sundress, the light material catching the candlelight as I move toward the center of the plush outdoor couch, the cushions sinking slightly under my weight. I can feel the eyes of all three men on me, Ethan, Mark, and Caleb, and for a moment, I expect to drown in shame or uncertainty, but it doesn't come. Instead, there's a trembling curiosity, a current of electricity that races through my veins, making my skin prickle with awareness. It's as if the air itself is charged, every breath I take pulling me deeper into this uncharted territory. Mark and Caleb step closer, their movements slow and deliberate, almost cautious, as if they're waiting for a sign that this is truly okay. I catch the hesitation in Mark's usually confident stride, the way his boyish grin softens into something more tender, more careful. Caleb, ever the quiet observer, watches me with those piercing eyes, but there's a gentleness there I didn't anticipate, a silent question in his gaze. Ethan, seated just off to the side, holds a glass of deep red wine, his posture relaxed but his stare unwavering, a complex mix of protectiveness and fascination etched into every line of his face. He gives them a subtle nod, a quiet encouragement, and it's like a dam breaks, the tension easing just enough for us to move forward. Their approach feels like a dance, each step measured, each touch tentative at first, as if they're testing the waters of this new dynamic. I feel the warmth of a hand on my arm, light as a feather, sending a shiver down my spine despite the warm night air brushing against my bare shoulders. It's a contrast that heightens every sensation, the cool breeze against my skin, the heat of proximity, the way my sundress shifts with every subtle movement. My breath catches as another hand finds the small of my back, a grounding touch that steadies me even as my pulse races. It's unfamiliar, yes, but there's a safety in it, a trust woven into every gesture, guided by Ethan's watchful presence. I glance at him, and his eyes meet mine, a silent reassurance that he's here, that this is something we're exploring together. The moments that follow unfold with a slowness that feels almost sacred, every touch and whisper amplified by the stillness of the night. There's a warmth that spreads through me, a mingling of skin against skin that's both foreign and comforting, like stepping into a new world but finding a familiar path. The music hums softly, its haunting melody wrapping around us, blending with the rustle of leaves and the distant chirp of crickets. I'm hyper-aware of every detail, the way the candlelight flickers across their faces, casting soft shadows, the way the air cools my flushed cheeks, the way each movement feels deliberate, as if we're painting a canvas with unspoken understanding. It's not rushed or reckless. It's a careful exploration, a shared journey into something beyond the ordinary. Then, after a series of exchanged glances, heavy with meaning, Ethan sets his glass down on the small table beside him, the clink of glass against wood, a quiet signal. As I wake up the next morning, the first thing I notice is the warmth of Ethan beside me, our limbs tangled in the soft, rumpled sheets of our bed. The faint scent of jasmine still lingers in my memory, a ghostly reminder of the night before, as vivid as if I'm still standing on that deck under the flickering string lights. My mind replays every moment, every shared breath, every unspoken understanding that passed between us in the backyard. It's not regret that stirs in my chest, but something else, something deeper, like a quiet revelation that's still settling into my bones. I turn my head to look at Ethan, his face peaceful in the early light filtering through the curtains, and I feel a swell of something I can't quite name. It's not just love. It's a raw, unfiltered connection, stronger than ever. We eventually make our way downstairs, the house quiet except for the soft patter of Max's paws as he follows us into the kitchen. I pour 2 mugs of coffee, the rich, earthy aroma grounding me as I hand one to Ethan. We settle at the small kitchen table, the sunlight streaming through the window in golden ribbons, catching the steam rising from our cups. There's no awkwardness between us, no heavy silence begging to be broken. Instead, there's a new kind of honesty, a clarity that feels like the first deep breath after being underwater for too long. I look at him, my fingers wrapped around the warm ceramic, and I just say it. I liked it, Ethan. I don't regret a single second of last night. My voice is steady, surprising even myself with how sure I sound. His eyes meet mine, a soft smile tugging at the corner of his mouth, and he reaches across the table, his hand finding mine. "Neither do I," he says, his grip firm, reassuring. "We're stronger for this, Sophie. I can feel it." Those words sink into me, a quiet truth that echoes everything I've been grappling with since the night unfolded. Sitting there, with the morning light warming my skin, I realize how much that experience stripped away the layers we'd built up over the years, those thin veils of pretense, the unspoken fears, the desires we'd tucked away in the corners of our minds. What's left is just us, raw and real in a way we hadn't been before. It's not about what happened under the stars, not entirely. It's about the trust it took to get there, the willingness to step into the unknown together and come out the other side not just intact, but transformed. I sip my coffee, the bitter warmth sliding down my throat, and I feel a peace I didn't expect. There are no shadows between us anymore, no hidden corners we're afraid to look into. We've seen each other at our most vulnerable, and instead of breaking, we've built something even sturdier. Life moves forward, as it always does, and Mark and Caleb remain woven into the fabric of our world. They show up to future gatherings, their laughter filling our backyard during barbecues, their voices blending with ours over board games at the dining table. There's a quiet understanding in their presence now, a shared history that doesn't carry discomfort or tension. It's just there, like a thread that ties us together in a way that's subtle, but undeniable. I catch Mark's easy grin across the table one evening, and there's no weight behind it, just the same playful warmth as always. Caleb's piercing gaze meets mine briefly during a casual conversation, and I see nothing but respect, a nod to the trust we all navigated that night. It's not something we talk about openly, but it doesn't need to be. We all know what it meant, and that's enough. Weeks later, I find myself back on the deck with Ethan, just the two of us this time. The night is clear, the sky a vast canvas of stars twinkling above us, their light faint but steady. We're sprawled on that same plush outdoor couch, a blanket draped over our legs, the cool evening air brushing against my cheeks. I tilt my head back, letting my eyes trace the constellations, and I feel Ethan's presence beside me, a comforting reminder that we're in this together. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.